These are every monster Odysseus will fight in the Odyssey movie. The Lotus-Eaters. After leaving Troy, Odysseus and his crew are blown off course by a storm and reach the land of the Lotus-Eaters. They aren't monsters in the traditional sense. They welcome strangers peacefully and offer them the fruit of the lotus plant. But anyone who eats it immediately lose all desire to go home, to see their families, to do anything except stay on the island and eat more lotus. Several members of Odysseus's crew eat the fruit and refuse to continue the journey, so Odysseus has to forces them back onto the ships. Polyphemus the Cyclops. This is the one everyone knows. Odysseus and his men land on the island of the Cyclops and explore a cave filled with cheese, milk, and livestock, deciding to wait for the owner to return so they can ask for a guest gift, which was a major point of hospitality in ancient Greek culture. The owner turns out to be Polyphemus, a one-eyed giant and the son of the sea god Poseidon. Instead of offering hospitality, Polyphemus seals the cave with a boulder so massive that dozens of men couldn't move it and starts eating Odysseus's crew two at a time. Odysseus offers him strong wine and claims his name is Nobody. Once the Cyclops falls asleep, he and his men blind him with a sharpened olive stake. When Polyphemus screams for help, he shouts that nobody is attacking him, so the other Cyclopes assume nothing is wrong and don't come to help. Odysseus and the survivors escape by hiding beneath the giant's sheep. As they sail away, Odysseus reveals his real name. Furious Polyphemus calls upon Poseidon to curse Odysseus's journey home. The Laestrygonians. The Laestrygonians are a race of giant cannibals. Odysseus's fleet sails into a narrow harbor that appears safe. The harbor is a trap surrounded by towering cliffs. When the giants realize strangers have arrived, they attack from the cliffs with massive rocks and destroy the ships. They spear fleeing sailors like fish and drag them away to be eaten. Only Odysseus's own ship escapes because he had anchored it outside the harbor. 11 of his 12 ships are destroyed by Laestrygonians.
Circe. With only one ship remaining, Odysseus arrives on the island of Aiaia, home to the powerful sorceress and witch goddess Circe. She welcomes part of the crew into her palace, serves them a feast, then transforms them into pigs with a single spell. Warned by the god Hermes, Odysseus eats a magical herb called moly, making him immune to her magic. When Circe's spell fails, Odysseus confronts her and forces her to restore his men. Before they leave, Circe tells Odysseus that he must travel to the underworld and seek the prophet Tiresias if he wants to return home. The Sirens. On the way, Circe warns Odysseus about the Sirens, creatures whose singing is so beautiful that any sailor who hears it steers straight toward them and crashes on the rocks, drawn in until they die. Odysseus wants to hear the song without dying, so he orders his crew to seal their ears with beeswax and tie him tightly to the mast, ordering them not to untie him no matter what he says or does. As they pass, the Sirens' song is so overwhelming that Odysseus begs and struggles to be freed, but they ignore his pleas, and the ship passes safely. Calypso, the only survivor of Zeus's storm, Odysseus washes ashore on the island of Ogygia, where he meets the nymph Calypso. Unlike the monsters before her, Calypso doesn't try to kill him. Instead, she keeps him on the island for 7 years, offering him immortality if he agrees to stay with her forever. But Odysseus refuses to abandon his wife Penelope or his home in Ithaca. Eventually, the gods order Calypso to let him go, ending the longest captivity of his journey. By the time Odysseus reaches home, he's lost every ship and every single man who sailed with him from Troy. And by the way, I'll be making similar videos, so make sure to subscribe. The Cattle of Helios. After escaping Scylla, the exhausted crew lands on the island of Thrinacia, where the sacred cattle of the sun god Helios graze. Both Circe and the prophet Tiresias had warned Odysseus never to harm the animals, no matter how desperate they became. But after weeks of being trapped on the island by storms, the starving crew ignores the warning. While Odysseus is asleep, they slaughter the sacred cattle for food. Helios demands punishment from Zeus. After the ship leaves the island, Zeus destroys it with a lightning bolt. Every member of the crew dies, only Odysseus survives. Calypso, the only survivor of Zeus's storm, Odysseus washes ashore on the island of Ogygia, where he meets the nymph Calypso. Unlike the monsters before her, Calypso doesn't try to kill him. Instead, she keeps him on the island for 7 years, offering him immortality if he agrees to stay with her forever. But Odysseus refuses to abandon his wife Penelope or his home in Ithaca. Eventually, the gods order Calypso to let him go, ending the longest captivity of his journey. By the time Odysseus reaches home, he's lost every ship and every single man who sailed with him from Troy. And by the way, I'll be making similar videos, so make sure to subscribe.